late 90s, early thousands Budweiser commercials made by David Ho do not necessarily reflect the opinions of terribleopinions.com. Again, we apologize. Also joining me, Andy Loftus.
Hi.
And Grant Loftus.
Hello.
All right, let's get right into news this week because some stuff happened. There was some stuff. The Game Awards and the PlayStation Experience both happened. The biggest piece of news from this, obviously, a sequel to basically the game of this generation so far as PlayStation exclusives go. That's right, motherfuckers. Knack 2 is coming. You guys ready for more Knack? Because Knack is back. The Knack attack is back, Jack.
I never even played Knack 1. What was it?
It was
a really shitty platformer that nobody liked, with the most unappealing main character I've ever seen in a video game.
Well, of course there has to be a sequel.
The only thing that was the whole thing that's this is a PS4 is it had he's basically made out of a particle engine. He's all this shit's flying off his body.
Yeah, he's a bunch of little pieces. It's one of those you couldn't do this on a PS3 things, but the game sucks.
Yeah, it was hard too. I remember.
What was that fucking launch game that Rare made for
Perfect Dark?
the 360? No, not Perfect Dark. Their platformer thing, Cameo.
Oh yeah,
it's
Cameo,
if they made a sequel to Cameo.
Yeah, I never played that one either.
Cameo's actually okay, so it's worse than that. But yeah, this is a weird choice. Anyway, Last of Us 2 is coming.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't the same characters, but we'll see what they
dude.
do.
I mean, they could have done it anyway, but
they're the last of them. You can't invent new characters.
Apparently, you're gonna play as the girl the whole game.
Yep.
As Ellie.
Yeah, as Ellie this time.
Yeah,
that's because Joel is obviously going to get killed halfway through.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, and it sounds the guy on was it Druckmann or whatever who's directing. He said this game is all about hate, and it sounds like she's just gonna murder people this whole game. So
nice.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, all right, I'll play that.
There's absolutely no reason to think this game is gonna suck in any way possible.
I wasn't a huge fan of the first one, but it's not that game sucks. This game isn't really my thing.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely my thing. I would say it's probably in my top 5 for games of all time.
If they make the stealth a little bit better, I'll really like it.
I'm gonna sound like a white knight for this game, but I honestly think that game is perfect in every way. I think the gameplay is perfect. I think the shooting is perfect. I think the stealth is perfect. I think everything about it is perfect.
Yeah. I like the story a lot, but I didn't like how anything else felt.
Yeah, I mean, when everybody's like, you can't, it's the aim sways. I'm like, because it's supposed to be realistic, you dumb fucks.
Yeah, but I don't care what it's supposed to be like. I don't want my games aren't real life. They shouldn't be.
It felt really good to me though. I love the way that game controls and
But I think it added to the aesthetic of it when you pull your gun and all the sway is there and he's breathing heavily and especially when you get shot, doesn't it spray blood on your screen and stuff
It wasn't the shooting that I had a problem with. It was the stealth. I didn't like the stealth, and I didn't like the crafting. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, after these last couple of years, I would like to never have to craft anything in a video game ever again.
It depends how it's done. I think The Last of Us does it fine because it's very simple in how you do it.
You can do it on the fly.
I hate it if the things I need are really hard to find. Whereas Last of Us, there's it's just bolts, and then you might need a scissors if you want to make a shiv, which are plentiful,
But it's not like you have to go too far off the beaten path to find crafting material.
Well, you just have to look. You're always scrounging, looking for stuff. I don't know. It made sense to me, and it's very simple.
I do agree though that the stealth could have been better. It seemed like they would see you when they really shouldn't have been able to. I don't know. Well, if they make that a little better, I'll love this game.
I don't know. More. Maybe it's because I spent a lot more time with it. Once you kind of understand how the game is, how it works, it's so much. It just makes sense. And the game isn't meant to be stealth. If you get spotted, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it's supposed to happen because that's when the game is at its best, when the shit hits the fan and you have to frantically, deal with it. I mean, it sucks if it happens right away in a huge arena type room where you have to kill all the dudes. But otherwise, I think it works pretty good.
Yeah, that's coming. Also, sequels: Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or Infinity. I'm not sure which they're calling it. That's the infinity symbol. That's coming. That got announced. And also Marvel vs. Capcom 3 got put up on PlayStation Network because, like, on PS4, like, hey, this is back and it's available on the new consoles right now.
I'm sure that's a big deal to somebody, but I don't give a shit.
I really like those games. Like, I don't know how the fuck you play them, but you just mash buttons and cool shit happens.
Yeah,
So,
that's about what I thought too. But they are pretty.
yeah. Yeah, my only worry about this one is, like, after Street Fighter V, I hope they actually come out with a full game at launch this time.
Yeah.
Because Street Fighter V was a goddamn mess. And then the last...
I don't like
Dig
the
in?
way you pull off. I don't like the way you pull off moves in Street Fighter. The zigzagging. I can
Yeah,
never
it's
get
fine.
those. I can
It's
never
fine.
get those to trigger.
gotta use a good analog pad or a fight stick.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, also, Windjammers coming to PlayStation. That game's great.
How did you play
It's
it
like-
before? I mean, was it a Super Nintendo game or what?
It was, oh god, what the fuck was Windjammers on? Like, I've
Sega?
only ever played it, like, no, it was, I've only ever played it emulated. I don't remember the fucking name of the system. It was a Neo Geo game.
Yeah, I saw Giant Bomb we were playing it. I'm like, that game looks cool.
Yeah, that's Giant Bomb have gotten it, like, into, like, they're the guys who made me aware that this game existed and sort of, like, fucking brought it back. They are the reason this game is getting ported.
That's what
Like,
I thought, because I'm like, I've never
Yeah,
heard of
it's
this game.
directly from them, yeah.
They're acting like it's like this big classic. I'm like, I feel like the way this game looks, I would have heard of it or seen it before. Because it just looks like really cool, you know?
Yeah, like, they started playing it in, like, 2013, and it got their old Game of the Year award that year. And, like, yeah, now it's coming to PlayStation 4 with online. So, it's gonna be good. Gonna be good. I'm excited. Also, the real, in my opinion, biggest news of all this was that new Death Stranding trailer, which
Yep.
had Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen both in it. And if you play it and the other trailer side by side, when the baby disappears from Norman Reedus' arms, it appears in Guillermo del Toro's tank.
So do you think we'll be like? Do you think we'll be like switching back and forth to these two characters?
I don't think Guillermo del Toro is going to be a character in this game.
As I say, it's so stupid. Like, I thought that
What if-
trailer's stupid.
Well, it's a Kojima ass trailer.
In
that's
fact,
for
I want
sure.
this game to
It's
fucking
like-
disappear until it's actually like out. Because like I'm not a fan of any of the shit they've shown for it so far. It's
What
so
the fuck? See, both of these trailers have been great.
it's so like up its own ass. Like
Yeah!
But that's
what you want. That's what you pay for.
Man, like, what are you talking about? Do you
Well-
not remember any of the marketing for any of the Metal Gear games?
I don't know. Part of it's this whole Norman Reedus thing, and I'm not on board with Norman Reedus. I've never have been. And
Norman
I don't
Reedus
know.
is a good actor who's, like, he should be in, he is better than the things he has been in.
Well,
Like, that's his trait.
well, my biggest problem with it
is good for.
My biggest problem with it is that it's clear this game is very far away, and he's gonna sit there and drip feed stuff like this early.
There's that article that came out where, like, it sounds like making a new engine is usually why, like, all of his games have taken so long, because they've all been new engines. But he's using the engine from
Horizon Zero
Horizon.
Dawn. Yeah.
that.
he
I
started
mean, that,
working on the game part of this.
apparently
So
that's the biggest thing with Japanese development. Why their games take so long is because they always build new engines, and they don't go third party. And so him having the engine already and not having to worry about that, I bet you this game comes out a lot quicker than we think.
yeah, I bet, like, earliest late 2017, and I bet absolute latest late 2018. And I bet we're going to keep getting short trailers like this announcing the cast until then.
The best thing
Because
about
he
that,
said on his Twitter, like, that he met up with a actress that he, like, loved and, like, is, like, might be working with her on this project. And it basically sounds like it's probably Emma Stone. Like, Emma Stone might also be in this fucking game. Because he, like, mentioned La La Land in that tweet, and that's, like, the name of her new movie.
well, that'll
So-
be,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so here's my theory, by the way. This is my crazy fucking out there pie in the sky fan theory. There's also that picture of him hanging out with Nicholas Winding Refn posted over this weekend. Everybody involved with this movie, we know it's Kojima, Del Toro, who's a movie guy, Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen, who are both real actors. He's maybe meeting with Emma Stone for this. He's been hanging out with Nicholas Winding Refn. Do you think this is just a game, or do you think they're making a fucking video thing to go with this?
Well, I think he's got a lot of. Did you watch that documentary on the Metal Gear Solid 5 Blu-ray? Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of people who just really like him. So it doesn't seem all that out of the ordinary to be hanging out with all these people.
I agree. But just the fact that it's all movie people, and like him and Del Toro have been trying to work on stuff, and like film has been rumored with those two for a while. Like, I have a feeling when this comes out, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's a game, but it's also like
movie.
a fucking maybe not even a movie. Maybe just like it's also like a 4-part fucking PlayStation Network exclusive TV series or something. Like,
yeah,
I don't expect like a full movie release.
Cool.
I expect something smaller.
Did you see that article about how they're getting the lighting right, where they recreated that room, that conference room at Sony or whatever, and that's where they put all their character models in to see like how light. So they have some real world thing to base like how light bounces off everything, and apparently that's why everything just looks so awesome. Huh. I'm excited. I want this game.
Mads Mikkelsen is the head of the skeleton army is something I need in my life.
And you know what else was really good about this? We got Del Toro going fuck Konami on Twitter. Like
that's
that.
the best part of
Konami also canceling Silent Hills after PT is the most moronic thing I've ever seen.
They're all just letting loose on it, and it felt good. And did you see Jeff Keighley's speech to Kojima about that award? And like that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was. Did you watch that, Grant?
No, I didn't watch the. I've been hearing a bunch about all the speeches and stuff over the week.
They basically, he wanted to give him that award last year, but Konami wouldn't let him accept it, and then
they wouldn't even let him be in the building.
Yeah, and he kept trying to give it to Kojima, but Kojima basically said, "I don't want that blood on my hands." But now he did take it this year, and it was like a really awesome moment. It felt like one of those big moments for gaming.
Yeah,
like, this guy that. And they all just love him. And now he's in this spot where he's just surrounded by people that just want to make him succeed. So we're just going to get this kick-ass game. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because it's like Sony seems to realize like a thing Konami never did, which is like if you get behind this dude, like especially at this point when he's the only guy in games that auteur theory actually applies to. Like you put his name on a thing, people will fucking buy it because they know that it's great. It's like if they get behind him and he succeeds, it will succeed and they will succeed. Like because
he's just such a staple for games that what was Konami thinking? Like that was like what they did was just trashing this icon. And they're gonna pay for it because didn't something come out saying that pachinko machines aren't.
They reported their lowest fucking earnings with them ever this last quarter.
And
the thing is in Japan they got like gambling legislation passed, so slot machines became legal. So not the way that Konami was hoping they would. It's still very restrictive. So they had like doubled down on pachinko and slot machines, but they can't actually capitalize on it.
Yeah,
so like it's that in their health clubs is all they have left. So
yeah, they fucked up big time. They really trashed this guy that was their golden goose.
These video games, they're going nowhere. Fucking gambling.
It's where the money
is. It's honestly what it reminds me of a lot of ways. If you want to use like the video games to movies parallel, is how fucking like Orson Welles got treated after Citizen Kane. Like the dude who made the greatest movie ever, probably. Like, and then he just got fucking like the studios were like, oh fuck this guy, and, like he got treated like shit forever after. But, like at least somebody here has realized like, oh no, we should swoop in and get this dude. And Sony is fucking making right on all this shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I bet you they are just loving it because I really see Kojima is really closely tied in with the history of Sony and PlayStation.
Yeah.
He's responsible for really pushing that system through all of the last several versions of it. So it just makes sense that he's with them now fully.
Yeah. Like, I like that he's like, they're funding him, but he's still like, it's still Kojima Studios. He still seems to be operating completely independently, which means like they literally probably just gave him like a blank check and were like, "This is a Sony exclusive. Do whatever you want." Which is great. It's fucking Kojima Unchained is gonna be something to fucking see.
I wonder if it'll have a VR component to it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
They should. That would make me get a PSVR.
Yeah. All right, let's move it on. Speaking of video games and also movies, Walton Goggins has been cast in the Tomb Raider reboot as the villain.
It's great.
Other than that, I don't think we know who he is, but Walton Goggins is fucking great. It's always been great, so that's good casting. This movie has good casting so far.
We'll see.
Between Alicia Vikander and Walton Goggins, I'm way more excited than I ever was for those fucking Angelina Jolie movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are they doing more in line with the reboot? Or are they doing the stupid?
It seems like that's their jumping off point is
Okay.
going to be like those new games.
Well, I still to this day don't think there's been a very good video game movie, and I don't think Assassin's Creed is going to be it.
I think
So,
Assassin's Creed might be it just from the team.
I think Assassin's Creed is going to be really fucking boring, and that's what it looks like from the trailers.
People were looking forward to it and like
Well,
sort
they
of
shouldn't
hoping at
until
it, especially
nobody
around
should be looking
Warcraft.
forward to these movies
But
until.
now, like, the consensus I've seen now is like everybody's like really down on it. Like they think it's not going to deliver. And I have no expectations because I'm not a player of these games. But I do know that you could just fucking adapt source code structure. Like source code structure is the Assassin's Creed structure, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, just so you can do an Assassin's Creed movie. There has been one, basically.
Yeah, and this director is really good. I really liked his fucking Macbeth. I like Fassbender. Like,
Yeah,
it's a good
like,
team on it. So I'm not gonna like if it's bad, I'm not gonna be shocked. But it's like I will be cautiously optimistic.
I think it's going to
Yeah.
be boring and forgettable, and that's just as bad. Like,
well,
Tomb Raider's got a really good casting for Lara Croft, though. That is really good casting. And
Yeah, I
kind
still
of,
see what it went with what's
I
their
still
face
think
in Star Wars, but
I don't think she is a person that does stupid stuff. Like she's already gained her own production company. She seems to be smart, so I don't think she would sign on to this movie if
Yeah,
it was gonna be a shitty movie.
I would say I was about to say she won that Oscar, but so did Halle Berry. Then she did Catwoman. So never mind. That's not a.
Well, yeah.
well, this could be her first misstep. We'll see. I mean, it remains to be seen. It remains to be an actual good video game movie. Man, I think there's some
Mortal
that are
Kombat.
okay. I think
Mortal Kombat
that
is-
one's good, and I think the Silent Hill movie's okay.
Yeah, the Silent Hill movie is all right.
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter is a great movie for completely different reasons, but
It's easy to do those movies, though.
it's okay. It kind of misses the point of Doom, but Doom's okay. Like as a movie,
Yeah.
it's got The Rock and Carl Urban. They're
But they're
both
not
good.
good. Like there hasn't been a good one. Well, it's because they're chasing the wrong fucking video games.
Yeah,
That's the
there
problem.
hasn't been an X-Men. Like there hasn't been the X-Men of fucking video game movies.
because the whole reason is because video games are imitation of movies in a lot of ways. Like Uncharted is Indiana Jones. Okay, so for them to say let's do an Uncharted movie, like you've already done that with the game.
Yeah.
So you doing it back, it's gonna lose the magic of it. And
That BioShock movie could have been something if they had a different director.
that and Last of Us. I think BioShock and Last of Us are the movies that have the best shot of
The
actually being
Halo
good.
movie could have been
Which one?
that Peter Jackson Halo movie could have been something too.
Yeah, but they'd have to treat it the right way and take it seriously.
Yeah.
But that's what they're not doing. They're just like we got to make sure we get the cool action scenes right, but the story is paper thin anyway, so who cares? Like,
Yeah.
only if you make it paper thin.
Yeah.
Put your own spin on it
Yeah.
if you must.
Yeah, we'll see. I still have a little bit more hope for Assassin's Creed than you do.
We'll see.
I know that
Looks
either
interesting.
way, good or bad, I will edit it together with Macbeth so that instead of going back to whatever period in time to be an assassin, he goes back to be Macbeth.
Yeah. And then you have to do a sequel where you use other stuff that goes back to be Magneto in the 60s.
Yeah, because that one's about his memories and shit.
Yep. All right, moving on. Spider-Man. They released a teaser for the full trailer that's coming out tomorrow. And his suit has like the armpit webs that he uses as like gliders, like sometimes in the comics. That's the
He's
first
in
time
DC in that, isn't he?
movie.
Like he's climbed up on top of the Empire, the Washington Monument.
Yeah,
He,
it
like,
looks
jumps
like.
off it. That's DC, right?
Yeah,
I wonder what the POV like GoPro footage is for.
probably fucking him swinging around. Like they're probably doing some practical shit.
They swing around.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Should
yeah,
win.
he's got those. People are calling them wings, and like, what the fuck? Spider-Man doesn't have wings. Like, from his fucking first appearance forward, he has had armpit webs that he often uses as a glider. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, just because the movies didn't do it doesn't mean they're new. Like,
It's just a way
People-
for him. It's just one more way of him to get around. It's cool. Like,
yeah,
what do you care?
it looks like. Didn't they show some stuff in that game that they showed at E3 where he was like doing a little bit of glidey stuff?
I don't think
using
they've shown us
too?
anything
Yeah.
for that game. They've showed us like one little part where he's like jumping around some bridges, but I don't think he had the wings.
I swear there's
That-
there's like gliding a
I'm-
little there.
I'm kind of excited about that game.
There's no reason not to
Like,
be.
yeah.
Who's it? Sucker
I hope
Punch?
Let's see. I
Or
got
is
to
it
pulled up.
Insomniac? I think it's Insomniac.
It's one of those two. Yeah, I think it's Insomniac.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got the
It's
page
the
pulled
guys who
up.
did not Infamous, but the other one.
Okay, so
Yeah, because it says by Sony. It's like a first party game.
Prototype.
Because it's
Yeah.
Insomniac.
yeah, it is.
That's cool. Wow. Yeah, this game's gonna kick ass. Like, I wonder if it'll look better on PS4 Pro and stuff too.
No,
You know, that's actually
it'll look better, but won't look that much better.
I keep hearing people saying it's better on Pro. Like Last Guardian, which we're gonna talk about later, is.
Yeah, you'll get like a slightly higher frame rate. Like that's it.
But they
But here's
also
the
they
other-
also are quick to say it's still not worth buying one of these things.
Apparently, though, and Gabe, I think you told me this. If you don't actually have a 4K TV, then
Some
you can
stuff
actually
is
get
worse.
some stuff will look worse if it's not actual. Because I'm assuming that it has to do extra work then to down res stuff.
Yeah, Deus Ex actually like is one of them that like read worse. Like Digital Foundry went through all of them and they found like Deus Ex and a couple others like actually looked worse on a 1080 TV.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
if you
mean-
had a 4K TV and you had money to blow, I suppose.
I don't know. Giant
Yeah,
Bombs
like,
made me
it's-
think
it seems
like
like
it's not worth it in any case. Like it's not worth buying a 4K TV. It's not worth buying a 4K PS4.
Yeah, Giant Bomb had a video like that they scrapped. They talked about this on the podcast where they there's going to be them hooking up PS Pro to a 4K TV. It literally took them 45 minutes to hook them up because there's different types. Like on the TV, there are different types of HDMI's. Then there's stuff in settings where you have to like turn certain settings on to get HDR to work in 4K mode.
That's so fucking dumb. That should all be automatic.
Yeah, like this is not the time to buy a PS Pro. This is not the time to buy a 4K TV. Give all of this shit at least another year or two before you like fucking
Yeah.
spend any money
Hey,
on the shit because it'll be
and-
cheaper and it'll work better.
I mean, they'll
It's the
probably
baby steps. There are
PS4
always going to be
Pro-
these baby steps.
maybe there'll be a PS4 Pro Slim.
Yeah, the next
a
thing will be 2
a
or 3
fucking
years from
mouthful.
now. It'll be the PS5, but it'll be the same architecture and like all your old games will work. It'll just be like they're cut
See-
off. Like, oh, the PS5 games don't work. That'll be why they number it.
Do you think you'll be
It's
able
more
to put?
an iPhone thing.
I'm seeing the 4K like movies, like 4K Steelbook for fucking shit. What's the shitty movie I can think of? Like I don't know, like X-Men Apocalypse or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, no. And I'm looking at the 4K section like I am, like Lone Survivor 4K or whatever. And it's like when Blu-ray was coming out. I'm like, why? And eventually, yes, they'll start making Blu-rays
Well, I think-
look worse on purpose. But
I think
until then,
Blu-ray-
like
Blu-ray
hold off, wait till the
more expensive.
technology has matured. Like it has to. It's baby steps. The technology
Yeah,
comes
there's-
out, and it's not that good. But by not being that good, it does get feedback, and there's improvements through that. And so people have to buy it for that stuff to actually mature. But once
At
it's
least
mature,
wait.
that's
At
when
least
me-
wait. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's when it matures. That's when me, the smart good boy, gets to buy these things and experience them as their good potential realized.
Yeah, like at the very least, wait until like there's not 2 different competing standards for HDR that like different studios have embraced different standards. So if you get like a player from one brand and a TV from one brand, like your fucking HDR movies from like a different studio who has embraced the other one, won't fucking work on those. Like, we wait for all this shit.
Blu-ray didn't really take off until HD DVD was dead, and that's a good thing though.
Yeah.
'Cause the HD DVD just didn't market itself right. Just did a lot of things.
Also,
dumb.
why the fuck doesn't the PS Pro play fucking 4K
I
Blu-rays?
don't know. It's
That's
so
dumb.
silly.
But that's probably because of the standard stuff.
Yeah, so I would wait for like the next real full step, because this is like a half step. Wait for the next full step.
So you
Like
think
we're on the phone model. It's like TikTok. Like this is the fucking PlayStation S, and then we'll have the actual PlayStation 5 next time. Like,
do you think the PlayStation 5 will just play PS4 games?
Oh,
put the
absolutely.
disc in?
Yeah.
You put
absolutely,
the
it's
disc
the
in
same architecture. Like that's the whole reason they switched over to this architecture, was because it's standard on everything now. It's the same stuff PC uses. It'll be until like the next major fucking processing architecture shift happens before we get anything like not being backwards compatible, I'm sure.
Isn't it super weird that Sony has been so shitty about like getting PS1 games playable?
Yeah,
on PS-
that's really weird.
Like,
They've got
come on.
PS2 stuff working now. Like,
Kind
I don't
of.
even like they came out without any fanfare. Like a bunch of old PS2 games just work. Like the fucking Warriors, that Rockstar game is like out. Like Red Dead Redemption.
You
is,
want to know
like,
why nobody cares? Because PS2 games don't hold up.
yeah, some of them do. Like Red Dead Redemption is still good.
Yeah,
Or
I don't know.
Like that game's all right. Like,
Manhunt's still
Yeah.
good. I bought that one. I was playing through it.
yeah, like I got the Warriors. That game seems fine still. Like I never played that when it came out. I was like, oh, okay, I see why this was cool. I wish I'd played it back then.
I just think people, they think they want something really bad and they play it. And I'm sure some people love these games enough. You know, I loved them back then, but it's like there's so much new stuff to play that going back and playing these old
Yeah.
shitty games, it's like you got rose tinted glasses right now. Like,
That's true.
I mean, I find that I can only play them for a little while before I'm like, yep, okay, I remember now. It's this. Like, this experience is not as exciting as I remembered it being, so I guess I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's there, though. I mean, I always appreciate, like, what's the word? Like, legacy games, like, bringing them forward and
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
feature-filling
it's
them.
really
For
a
historical.
preservation.
Yeah, for preservation. Like,
Yeah.
all the stuff works somewhere.
And the industry is really shitty in general about preserving their own history. It's fucking crazy how bad they are at it. They just don't seem to care.
The
I
GameCube
don't
is
know.
the only one that I'm really worried about right now, because certain games that have not ported over. Well, actually,
Yep.
just Eternal Darkness. That's the only one. Like, where the fuck is the port of that game?
Well, that studio went out of fucking business.
I
Yeah.
know,
Silicon
but-
Knights.
Well, the rumor is that the Twitch or the Switch is going to have a emulator for GameCube in there or something.
Oh, well, that would be fucking cool. They need to fix that. They just need to make it so every time you get a system from that company, you can play all their back catalog some way.
Yeah.
somehow.
They should just have, like, Nintendo is, like, the only company that I think could really pull this off. It should be, like, a subscription service where you pay $10 a month and you get basically every fucking game they've ever done, like, from the previous generations. Like,
Make streaming or
I would sign up
download?
for that. You would download them, but it'd be like a thing where you would have to connect to the internet to have it check your, like, fucking qualifications or whatever, like to make sure you were still paying, like your
Yeah.
account hadn't lapsed. But yeah, like just $10 a month. Just give us
Well,
access to
it's
all that
basically
shit.
what PlayStation Plus is. As soon as you lapse in your subscription, those games are
Yeah.
no longer locked.
Yeah,
They lock up.
just like that, but just like the entire Nintendo back catalog. Like, hey, here's all the fucking Marios. Just play Mario.
Yeah, that in a perfect world, that's how they'll do it, but they never will.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Last piece of news. Linda McMahon, the former CEO of the WWE and wife of Vince McMahon, owner of the WWE, is officially the Donald Trump's new head of the Small Business Administration.
The fuck? What
It's
the
also rumored
fuck?
that Hulk Hogan might be getting a job somewhere in the Trump administration.
No, you're making that one up.
Nope. Hulk
Hey, man.
Hogan making that one up because he's a fucking compulsive liar. But he said in an interview, like, I don't think I'm going back to wrestling anytime soon because I got a thing in politics under Trump coming up here soon.
Oh my god. We're doomed.
Then again, Hulk Hogan also said he was the original pick to play guitar in Metallica. So take everything Hulk Hogan says with a grain of salt.
Yeah, salt's running low.
Yeah. Except for the parts where Hulk Hogan has said he wanted to bang his own daughter, which is why I think Trump would pick him, because they have that thing in common. They both want sex with their daughters. But yeah, this is the world we live in now.
I mean, just imagine if when Obama got elected in 2008, and like in the months before he got inaugurated, if he started like saying his picks for all the cabinet positions were like Dre and Snoop and
Yeah. So, like Jane Fonda is Secretary of fucking War.
Like, okay, he hired
yeah.
Cal Penn, but not as like Secretary of Getting High or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he hired
working.
Kumar for like his, like campaigning and shit. Like,
Yeah,
or
because he's a
youth
young guy
outreach or
who knows how social media works.
yeah, like that's where he worked. He wasn't Secretary of Agriculture.
Yeah, just imagine if Obama had done that though. Like picked like the people that like the worst picks at. I mean, Drain the Swamp, my god, they're all billionaires and millionaires.
Yeah, how the fuck is money gonna keep you from being corrupted? You know what? Oh, you know what the corruption means? The corruption means people with more money than you pay you money so that you do what they want. So if you have that money, you don't need to pay people to do what you want. You're still doing what you want. You are the corruption. You know? Oh, he can't be paid to do whatever other people want him to do. It's like, yeah, he's one of those people who would pay people to do what they wanted to do. Like,
Yeah.
I follow Movie Bob on Twitter, and he keeps retweeting headlines and shit with, in quote, "you fucking idiots." Just and he tweeted like, "Hey, I'm gonna be the first one to get tired of this shtick," but just you fucking idiots every time, like.
Yeah, it's
Fucking idiots. If it only affected them, if
It's
it
so
only
embarrassing.
affected them,
It's
and it
so
will affect them, but like,
so embarrassing. And what a change though, right? Like what a complete shift. It's just
yeah,
fucking
Russia it has fucking usurped all power everywhere. He's, Putin is going to break up the EU by backing right-wing candidates. EU dissolves, and then he can, the largest land, like geographically, the largest country in the world will get a couple of more little droplets into its big puddle, for and kill all like Baltic people and stuff or whatever. And and then other people gotta have alliances and shit, and then they gotta fight in wars and all that bullshit. Like that's what he wants, and it's bullshit. He should just fist fight whoever he wants.
yeah.
War is
Yeah.
lame. War is fake and gay, as they say.
All right, let's move on. I think to what we've been playing, watching, whatever. Let's start the show with a showstopper here. Andy, you watched Sully.
Oh yeah.
How is that? Does Tom Hanks fly that plane? Does he fly that plane good?
Flies are good. So, you guys all know the story. Sully's that pilot that landed that plane in the Hudson River. So the whole movie, it's Clint Eastwood directed it. It's really a big anti-government movie. They make the NTSB look like a bunch of assholes, and I'd like to go and see the real thing. But basically, after it happens, they come after him saying, well, all our simulations show that you could have turned it around and landed on the runway.
You had enough fuel or whatever. You had enough altitude.
And they said, oh, it wasn't both engines out, but it really was, I think. Anyway, so the big moment in the movie at the end is when they're in the room and Sully says, oh, I want you guys to do live demonstrations, not with simulations, but with actual pilots and simulators. So they have two simulators side by side that are being broadcast live to them. And they both are able to land the plane safely. But then he kind of argues that, well, listen, these guys are just doing it by the book. They have no pressure on them. So they add 35 seconds to it before they can act. So the birds strike the engines, and then they have to sit there and wait 35 seconds before they can start doing stuff. And once that changes, then they all start getting everybody killed.
Wow.
So he's proven right in the end that yeah, like under real conditions, like he did the only smart thing. So the movie kind of ends with them being, NTSB's a bunch of assholes and fuck them. But what I really was hoping the movie would end with was Sully went to Congress in real life and he talked about how he's like, I don't know of anybody who's a pilot right now that wants their kids to go into this profession because we get paid like shit and blah blah blah. I thought that was going to be the last scene in the movie, but it's just not that movie. I don't know. It's kind of okay in the end, but ugh.
I'm like, haven't we seen this movie already? Isn't this basically Flight? Kind of.
Yeah.
Flight is a movie. This is a true story.
Okay, but
Yeah, but it wasn't Flight like a thing like, oh, it was inspired clearly by this.
Well, yeah, but this is the true story. So, like, if anything has a right to exist more, it's Sully over Flight.
I don't think either of them should really exist, but that's just me.
I like Tom Hanks, and that's why I would give this movie a chance.
I like
Yeah.
Tom Hanks in like I like old Tom. I like Bachelor Party a lot. That's a good movie.
Digging
Like,
deep there.
Turner and
I
Hooch.
I find like modern, like I'm a serious actor Tom Hanks like crushingly boring. Like he should just keep making those shitty fucking Da Vinci movies and go away.
Well, he didn't want to make those damn movies. He was forced to do it.
Well, now he's making another one, so
He's like contracted. He has to. Did you see that video where he's like,
he's Tom Hanks. He could get out of that if he wanted to, because he's fucking Tom Hanks.
But isn't that video funny where he comes out and he's just a total asshole about that thing with the Sony CEO guy? Have you seen this video?
Yeah, that was really good.
It is great.
Oh, is that yeah, that video. That's fucking
Yeah.
great.
he's up there. He's like extremely bitter, and he's just like intentionally ruining the whole thing.
because
It's
they
so
were
great.
they were holding on to a paycheck, unless he did this.
Yeah, and like so he goes to this award show or this fucking jerk off event or whatever, and like just does it wrong or something on purpose.
Yeah, it was a trade show. It's amazing.
Well, they're making
it was
him
like
put on these,
it
like-
was like CES or something.
They're making him put on like these like glasses. I want to say they're like Google glasses, kind of. And he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe these. I need to get." I mean, he's just phoning it in on purpose.
Yeah. See, and that's why funny Tom Hanks is the best Tom Hanks.
It was
And
cringe
they wear
porn
those.
at its
They wear
finest,
those
really.
glasses. Doesn't he make fun of those dumb glasses?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
just saying. He was like, "Oh, I gotta get me one of these," and they just look stupid. You know, it's fun. It's funny. It makes me really appreciate him.
We'll find David. Try and find that video, and we'll put it in the show notes if we can find it. I want to say it's at CES. So
Something like
anyway,
that.
David.
Yeah.
David, you watched Moana.
Yeah, the new Disney movie, and well, shit, it's a Disney movie from the directors of like Aladdin and The Little Mermaid and such, and it's
Got The
really fucking
Rock
good.
in it.
It's got The Rock, yeah.
Who plays the
um,
girl?
The Rock. He's got
The Rock.
range.
He plays both of them.
Yep.
No, it's a really good movie. It looks real good. It's fucking gorgeous. Like all the ocean shit and just I mean like a lot of like some sand and stuff. Like they're really approaching like photorealism in the way that like Pixar kind of has already. Like the short that played in front of Finding Dory was like 90% photorealistic.
This isn't Pixar. Or who is this?
It's
This is
Disney.
Okay.
By the way,
It's
the
like-
name of the actress who plays the titular character, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Oli Cravalho.
And yeah, anyway, like I'm just noticing that like, CGI American CGI movies, Disney and Pixar especially, like I don't know about DreamWorks or whatever, they're just, but
They're
like
just making
Disney's
TV
really
too.
yeah, they're really pushing the not realism, but like photorealism for certain things like sand or well, mostly sand, like that Sandpiper short in front of Finding Dory was like, damn, look at all this fucking animated sand that looks so realistic.
Look at that sand.
Look at that sand. It's like you gotta animate every single one of those grains. You gotta have the physics for that shit and the physics. For
They've probably got a thing like
hair and everything.
Speed Sand, like they have Speed Tree.
They have a
Like,
program called Sandmaker.
Well, yeah, they gotta, cause like the islands on Moana are really like just plants everywhere and like moss and shit, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous film. It's really cool, like hero's journey, where like the hero has to set out on a boat and like find this, find this hero demigod, and be like, hey, you got this thing you stole. He stole the heart of a goddess that like could create life and stuff, and that caused a bunch of bad shit to happen. And so she has to like take it to him, get him, be like, hey, come with me, and you're gonna return the heart and like restore life to the islands, because like black starts killing stuff on the island and stuff slowly, like killing their crops and like getting the fish away or whatever. And it's just
The Rock's character is like Maui, that guy. He's basically like their Hercules, basically, like he's a demigod. The entire movie, this one is like it's all made up stuff, like it was written for this, but like they did have like a bunch of like the tribal Maoris like check stuff off on it and be like, yeah, this all fits. So it's like a new legend of him. But like there's a song in it about all of his past exploits, which is all stuff from actual like myths about him. Also, the actual character died by getting killed by a goddess's vagina dentata. In the actual myth.
It does exist.
Yep.
Vagina dentata.
Yes. He's real fun. It's Disney movie. They're on top of the game. The songs are pretty good. None of them really stick with me that much. It's kind of the thing that's like, I guess, sort of happened with like the Disney movies, which I can only really think of like this and Frozen. And like Frozen obviously has like 2 huge hits, but like I don't know. I wish that like the songs like stuck better. Like they're good songs, but they're not like the Little Mermaid and Aladdin, for example, that these co-directors had done before, whether they were co or like individually, but they had directed these movies. Like Little Mermaid's got you could name like 3 songs from that are classic, and like Aladdin's got a bunch. And I don't know, like that's the area where it's really good, but I wish that it and maybe it doesn't seem like that because it's the now instead of later, but it feels like they don't stick the way that like the classics do, or like instant classics that like the Jungle Book movie from this year has like all those Jungle Book hits, and like the Cinderella movie, like the live action remakes of these movies, and like Beauty and the Beast is coming up next. They got all these tunes that and
that looks pretty good. That looks pretty interesting, that Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's cool because this is the first time. Wow, we've probably been able to do it for about like a decade or more now, but you have the computer effects now to really do that justice.
Yeah, to do that right.
Yeah, yep. Beast looks real good, and like
I don't like. There's one thing about him. What is it? Let me keep talking. Let me.
He's Dan Stevens from The Guest.
There's one thing about his face.
Yeah, I have heard one comment about his face that it was like too handsome or something, or too.
Yeah, like he doesn't look enough like. He looks a little bit too human for me. Like
when he gets angry, he's gonna need to be kind of scary looking.
Like he's definitely like thinner than the cartoon Beast.
It's his nose. I don't like his nose. He's got like his nose is too human looking.
It's a little bit human looking. I mean, there are not that many pictures on Google Images, but yeah, okay, yeah, it is a little more human looking than
the nose.
It's the color, because it's pretty much the same shape as the cartoon Beast, but cartoon Beast has that like black part that's like not furry, but it's like the dog nose, It's like that texture.
It's like bigger, and it's like his animated Beast has a weird nose here. Like there's that one in the chat, and then like here's animated him. Like he's just got like a normal person nose. He's like handsome Beast.
It's the same color all the way through. Like that's
like it's like those Beasts like handsome Squidward.
You should have had that damn black nose and those tusks and everything.
Yeah, he doesn't have the
it's-
tusks on the bottom of his thing. He doesn't
Oh,
have
that's true.
brows.
That's it. His lips are too human. That's it, because the
Yeah.
tusks are not there. I'm sure they tried. Like, I'm sure they went through different iterations.
I'm sure they had a couple test audiences, and they were probably like measuring their brain waves to see how turned on people were getting.
Yeah.
Doing it for people.
They're like, oh, all of our computers tell us that we need to make him look more human.
Gotta
Yeah,
make him
it says
sexier.
Cartoon Beast has the nose that like has different colors, and there's definitely that it's like furry, but then it's got that skin that like dogs and bears and such have on their noses, and that's not present. Also, the tusks are missing, but whatever. Disney's on a roll with their live action adaptations. Cinderella was good. Jungle Book was good.
Disney's just on a roll in general. They're totally keyed into like what
Well,
they need.
they
Yeah.
also own Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
On Marvel, just everything, and they've always been such a smart company, knowing like how to make a lot of money, how to do right by things, and do them right. I guess that's just pretty cool.
they have their rough patches, but like they're fucking Disney. Like they for all that for as much of a corporation they are, they're also like the Magic Corporation. Like you can't hate them really. You can sort of be like go root for Banksy and exit through the gift shop or whatever, but also it's fucking Disney, man.
I wish
Like,
they would actually do something with their gaming side of things, because it seems like everything they do with their video games kind of sucks.
Well, they don't have. They did. They shut it down. Like
No, I'm saying
there is no.
they obviously didn't take it seriously, because the games that came out for it were terrible. So at least I think
it's
they
a
all were.
totally different medium. They understand movies and TV and stuff.
Well, now they own Star Wars. They better. I mean, have there not been like
Fix that,
1,000 Marvel games?
Hey EA, you now have the fucking Star Wars license. Make good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. They should just outsource it to these other companies that they know will do right by it, and put their logo on it, and like actually put like some money into it, and they could probably make some actually good games.
It seems like that seems to be what they're doing now. Like
Yeah,
they
maybe.
seem to be on that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Favreau's doing the Lion King, which is like presumably is going to be entirely CGI because there's no people in it. That'll be cool. But yeah, Moana's really good. It's worth checking out. Good songs and stuff, and some fun animation. There's a part in Maui's big song that when he's introduced that like goes into this like other style of animation cartoonishness. Like it's almost like Paper Mario kind of like backdrop where like everything it's like 2D objects, but they're kind of interacted with as if they're like cardboard cutout like layers and stuff, like a diorama or whatever. And they've got that kind of like even if they're like still moving, that kind of animation. So it's like these 3D characters and they're walking around and like interacting with these 2D objects for this part of the song. And it was like really weird because you're looking at it and you're thinking that like it looks just like when human actors, like live action people, are interacting with cartoon objects like Roger Rabbit or whatever, but in like a 2D space. Like I guess less Roger Rabbit, more like a commercial or something. But it was like, so my brain's thinking that, but I have to check it and be like, no, those are CGI characters. Those are also cartoon characters. They're just interacting with more cartoonish things. It was really cool. So yeah, it's worth checking out. It's got tons of cool designs and stuff, and there's some monsters in it, and a lot of cool boating action.
Right.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's
of cartoon characters interacting with other things, where there are some monsters, I've been playing a bunch of Final Fantasy 15. Animes are cartoons, and you're definitely playing as a group of animes.
Anime
Yeah,
bros.
Speaking of realistic hair animation.
Yeah.
How
So
far
I
are
actually,
you? How far are you?
I'm like 20 hours in.
Yeah, I mean that's my clock says about 20 as well, so we're probably.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of side stuff. I feel like you've been doing more main story stuff quicker than I've been doing. Like I'm level 40 I haven't got on the boat yet.
I'm
Like the boat's ready to go.
36, I believe.
Like the boat at the lighthouse is ready to go, and I could get in it, but I haven't gone yet because I've just been doing a bunch of side
Well,
stuff.
that's where I am. Are you at the point where you meet up with a girl and you're all road tripping together?
Yeah, I just finished that.
Okay, so we're probably at the same place. I've been doing as much side stuff as possible. I find it's the way this game is designed. It's like they're fighting efficiency, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I'm just gonna read this what I put down in the group the other day, so I wouldn't forget what I said. Like the game as a whole is like a giant disorganized mess of a train wreck, where it seems like every individual piece was worked on by different teams, and those different teams didn't actually communicate with each other about what they were making. And then somebody at the end like Frankensteined it all together to get it out the door. And like none of this should work. Like it's a game that's been in development for like 10 years, started development as a different game, has been delayed and delayed and delayed and reworked and reworked and reworked. None of it should work, yet this game is fucking great.
Yeah.
Like all weird like idiosyncrasies of it, like they're more charming than they are off-putting. Like your character and his three bros are just straight up fucking anime characters, and everybody else in this world is like wearing fucking jeans and a work shirt and a trucker
Like
hat
jorts
and
and
talking
stuff.
with like yeah, and like talking with like shitty southern accents. Like basically you're like coastal elites from fantasy New York on your way to fantasy California, but like you get your car breaks down in fantasy flyover states. And you're like stuck here like, oh shit, we got to get a job hunting monsters, I guess. And this dude needs me to go to his farm and do some work. Like
We're
it's
always
fucking weird.
there's so many quests that involve getting ingredients for people that I just it's like I need to get more of this shit. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound very fun. Like I'd rather be like killing
Usually
monsters
when you
and
get
stuff.
there, you fight some monsters
Yeah.
when you get the stuff at least.
Yeah, I mean you were
Just
totally
now,
right.
I got that fucking cup noodle product placement quest.
And I think this game wouldn't be nearly as good if the combat system wasn't fun, but it's really fun. And when it's
Yeah,
clicking,
combat
it's
Good.
Well, I'm probably gonna get this game, and I haven't really been into a Final Fantasy game since 8. So
you
You know,
can,
like
I-
it's the last one I cared about. I did just buy the remaster of 10 though, because it was like I got the boy band one. I should probably get the girl group one too, huh?
that one, the X2 I couldn't get into. Like it's the way the game starts, it's very like throwing systems at you too quickly. I think 10 is really good though, and I would play that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through both of them probably as soon as I finish this one.
Yeah. This is probably gonna be the first Final Fantasy I actually beat because it just seems more accessible. I don't know, but no, I really dig it. The only complaint I have so far with it, I mean, there's little complaints like I was saying earlier. This game is fighting, being like efficient. Like I wish it was easier to tell if you're nearby a quest when you're doing another quest. So you can kind of like
Yeah.
be like plan
Here's-
out.
Here's the thing that this is emblematic of all of that. You can fast travel from anywhere that you're on foot to your car, and from the car you can fast travel to any of the hubs or parking spots, but you can't fast travel to hubs and parking spots on foot. So it's just like one extra fucking menu and load screen you have to go through, which is like,
That's-
come on,
You
like
spend
you
a
don't
lot of
need
time
that.
in that car.
that's Final
And
Fantasy, though.
You know what though? Here's my other big complaint, and I'm starting to think my game is bugging out. Is they don't talk very much when they're in the car, and if you zoom up on them, sometimes their mouths are moving like they're talking to each other, and I can't.
No, they just don't talk that much.
I think that I think this game should have way more dialogue in the car, and I was under the impression there'd be more because a lot of people say that like, these characters are like really fleshed out. I'm like, I don't think so. I really don't. These
They're
characters
fleshed
seem
out as far as
one-dimensional.
like their anime tropes go. Like it is, you go along, they have been doing other stuff. Like, have you been camping a
Yeah.
lot?
Yeah, you have to.
'Cause, like, well, like, have you been like camping at campsites, not
Yeah.
like at towns? Because like I've gotten like a bunch of like just little missions where it's like one of your guys like, hey, got to get up early tomorrow and do this. You want to help me out? Like that's where a lot of the character stuff has been coming through for me. Is in those things.
Basically, all I know about my characters is that they all are like love food, and that's about it.
Yep, they all love food. That's also true.
and they get like hard-ons for it, which I guess is like a Japanese thing. They're just obsessed with food or something.
That one
But
dude fucking loves cup noodles, man.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's like plenty of time for these characters to like evolve, but I've heard this game is like a 30-hour like story, and then there's like hundreds of hours of side content afterwards.
Yeah.
But like if I'm like 30 hours in almost already, I feel like I can't have that much left. I bet you I do.
Well,
though. I
we've
bet
been
you
doing a
there's-
lot of the side stuff too. Like, I feel super over leveled for all of the story missions I've been.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it really feels to me like they expected you to like do a little bit of side stuff, but like really want to get through this fucking story mode, which is like nonsense. The story in this game is fucking nonsensical. Like, I couldn't tell you what's actually fucking happening
yeah.
at this point.
I need
Like,
to watch that Kingsglaive thing, which I guess some people say it's cool. Some people say like, yeah, you don't need to watch it, and it's bad. But it's weird that they like splice the cutscenes from that movie into the game. You know,
Is
You
it
don't-
is it those?
Yeah.
Is it literally those cutscenes?
That's Kingsglaive. Those ones that look like way better than the rest of the game. That's the game.
That's
the
really
movie.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really fucking
You can
weird.
tell, like that's the place where it's so clear that there was like the story was like, yeah, this doesn't really make sense. Like we got this movie out here, starring Aaron Paul as Noctis. Did you guys know that Aaron Paul?
Is
plays
Aaron
Noctis?
Paul is Noctis again?
Yeah, and I want to say someone like Ron Perlman's in it too, playing his dad. Or some
Sean
shit.
Bean.
Sean
Sean
Bean,
Bean is
yeah.
in.
Uh,
I don't think he's his dad though. I think he's another guy.
I mean, I'm watching.
Oh,
these
and Lena
cutscenes.
Lena Headey's in it too.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
seriously.
I'm watching these cutscenes and I'm like, this movie looks like. I mean, it might be like incomprehensible and stupid, but it looks really cool. Like
I
it's
have
just-
it. I haven't watched it yet though.
Yeah, but I just thought it was very awkward how they do that. But overall, I mean, I'm digging this game a lot. Like I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
I'm really happy the way it turned out. I had my negative Nancy pants on for this game after playing the Duske demo because they thought the combat sucked. But here's how they changed it: they made it so you just hold down a button instead of slashing because like
Yep.
that's literally all they did to fix it. Like you don't have to worry about being at the enemy. And there's some weird stuff where your guy's like trying to get to guys and he's like getting stuck on stuff or whatever. But for the most part, it works.
Yeah, I
really
noticed
good.
like if you're fighting in places where there's like a lot of trees, it gets kind of shitty.
Yeah, but that's you can control the camera. Have you got the first summon yet?
Yes.
Oh my god, wasn't that just insane?
Yeah, that thing's crazy. I've
you're-
also looked up how you do the summons, and like
Oh yeah, because I haven't.
they seem.
I heard that they're extremely situational. Like it has to be
Yes,
storming.
they're really situational. Like, yeah, like you have to like for the one we have, it's like the combat has to have gone on for a long time,
So
which I don't know what that means. Like,
and
I got
every
it
time
with-
they show up for me, they're always like, "There's nothing left." Like the boss is dead. Like
Yeah.
all right, so Andy, I'll
then there's
explain it to
another
you
one
here.
where it's like Noctis has to be in danger and you'll get it. Like these are ones you get later.
Well,
Then
all
there's
right.
ones where like your other party members have to be down and you'll get it. There's one where like you have to be in danger and by water. Like there's really weird.
So the
like-
first one, it shows up like you're fighting like a giant mech, and I already killed the mech, and I was just cleaning up like the 2 or 3 guys, and all it said is like, the name of summon? It's like he decided he's going to help you, and all of a sudden it says press L2 to summon him, and this giant fucking like Titan or something shows up, picks you up, and then just throws a lightning bolt at this like base you're in, and just like vaporizes the whole thing. Like we're talking massive scale destruction. Like you couldn't even see anything on the screen for a little while because everything is just like embers.
yeah, exploding. Yeah,
It's amazing.
it's
and I'm
really
like,
cool.
I was like, yeah, that's a summon right there. Like that's they really went all out compared to the other games where, they just like a beast shows up and does like an attack and then leaves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was like right in the middle of that fight when it got it, so it just wiped the entire arena for me. It's like, oh shit.
I wish you had a little more control when you could do them, but
Yeah, me too.
For how big
Like a
they are,
meter or
you know.
something.
yeah, that's how
Yeah,
they can
game's
do it.
good. You should play that game.
It's good.
The other game that's been in development for 10 years that I've heard less positive things about, Grant, tell me about Last Guardian.
Well, I mean, I've played probably 6 or 7 hours of it, and
So you're like 2% into the game from what I hear.
I heard
Like
it's
I
like a
hear that
15
game's ridiculously long.
I heard it's like 15 hours.
I've heard it's supposed to be like 20
Don't you
to
have to?
30.
Don't you have to sit and fight with the goddamn
Oh yeah,
app
well,
thing?
let me get into it here. Like, first, let me just say like what my general opinions are. I think this game is actually really good, but it has some serious problems. I mean, it's Gabe. You're not gonna like it if you didn't like Shadow of the Colossus because the controls are.
I
really
thought Shadow of
fucking
the
weird.
Colossus was fine.
Well, then you will probably think this game is okay. So here's the problem with this game. All right, first of all, the beast Trico is incredible. Like the animations on him, he feels like a living, breathing creature that you care about, and there's so many like little touches that they add to him that it feels like this giant lumbering beast that you're just trying to like. It helps you and you're helping it to get along around. The biggest problem is that a lot of the puzzles are vague enough where you're like, you think you're doing it right. Like, okay, I see this area that looks like I could maybe get Trico to jump up to. And you're like, okay, well, you're pointing at the thing for him to jump on it and he doesn't do it. And you're like, oh, well, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do. And then all of a sudden he does it. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I hear like the way he acts is like he is actually an animal,
Yeah.
and like it's like trying to get your fucking dog to look at the TV.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, the game is getting like what, like 7s, and I'd say like that's pretty true just because of the mechanics in this game. They don't translate to 2016. But head
yeah,
this game,
Austin Walker on the Waypoint podcast was saying like this is what it felt like. So is this what you're saying too? Like it doesn't feel like a game that like they kept like redesigning over these
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just made the game off of that design document from 10 years ago, and then just like it feels like a lost game from 2006.
yeah, I mean, it feels like the camera's really weird, the controls are weird. That all being said, I think this game is something special. Like, there's nothing else like it, just like his first 2 games. And I'm really curious to see where it goes, like with this creature. I don't know. I mean, everybody always
It's gonna
assumes that he's
die.
going to die. We know the kid lives because the way the game is told, the story is told, it's like an older man telling about like his experience, and he's like, you kind of get into his headspace at the time and what he was thinking and how he came to like bond with this creature. But yeah,
It's like Wonder Years.
yeah. So anyways,
Yes, the cat is the big cat. Bird is Winnie Cooper.
it has a really like awesome art style. Like you can tell that you can sort of tell that this game is old, but there's parts of it that are just jaw-droppingly gorgeous. Like I've never seen anything like this in the video game. Like just the way the thing's feathers look in the sunlight when it's like jumping over like these like towering like I don't know, big towers that he's climbing on that are like falling apart as he's doing it. Like I just did a part right now that I just did before I came on the podcast here where you're like jumping he jumps across this thing and it's like breaking apart and you have to jump onto his back right as he's doing it, and he catches you with his tail, and then he's like scaling a wall as it's falling apart, and there's just like this like epic music playing, and I was like, holy shit, this is what I expected this game to be.
Does the stubbornness of him add to the realism?
He's getting better. Like he's getting to the point where he trusts me more, so he
Can
does more.
can you do things to erode that trust? Like, can you do things that make him trust you less, whereas like another player might have more trust in him at that point, or is it linear?
No, it's he doesn't trust you right away, and he's like actually trying to lash out at you, but you pull a spear out of his back, so he immediately starts to like you, and you start feeding him. He's more just like he's curious about you, so he follows you around. But now it's to the point where he like you can tell that he cares about me and wants to help me. And so like there's enemies in the game that actually try to attack the little kid, and he'll actually attack him. And every time he's in a fight, he gets really agitated, and you have to crawl up on him and start petting his neck to calm him down. And
So it's just like the new Pokemon game.
I don't know, is it?
Yeah, after Pokemon fights in this, like you can go pet them and they'll like fight better next time if you like clean the dirt and stuff off of them, and the blood of their enemies.
Oh, I saw a
whatever
picture.
else
Some guy was
Pokemon have on them.
petting. He was like petting like I think it was not Machop or whatever. He's like petting his genitals, and the guy he's like going.
I think I've seen that GIF.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think, yeah, this game has been in development for, 9 years? There's no way
Yeah.
anybody who's like, oh well, it's been developed for 9 years, so I expect not tens. Like, no, you shouldn't be
Yeah, it's
expecting
usually
that.
not how it works. Yeah, it's
That being
usually the
said,
exact opposite of that.
that being said, I mean, it is a Ueda game, which is a huge compliment to the game. Like, it's not. I was kind of thinking like, well, it's probably going to be like this huge mess that barely works. Like, it's very much like it's uncompromising in like his vision and what he wanted, and it's probably his least playable one of these games, but it's still like amazing. Like, I would recommend this game to anybody at this point who is looking for like an experience. Like, yes, it's frustrating at times, and there's puzzles like I said where I'm trying to do them, but nothing has stumped me for that long. I did have to look up something today, but that was it so far. I'm totally preparing myself to like for like an ending that makes me cry or something like that at this point, and I think they could pull it off. I mean, I'm invested now at this point with this creature. I don't know. I know on I listened to that same podcast, say the Waypoint one. They're like, it's not if the creature died at the end that would be bad, but if the creature like turned bitter and mean towards the character, I think that'd be more devastating. And I have to agree. Like, it'd be really bad if for some reason like the creature didn't trust me anymore or something like that, and like or I did wrong by it. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I like it a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I just rented it, but I don't think I would have felt bad if I bought it. I think it's a good game.
yeah. I'm expecting like Abby will probably end up buying it because she's a big fan of the other two.
Yeah.
So I'll probably play it then. Yeah, all right, that's going to do it for what we've been playing and watching. Abby again said she might pop on, but hasn't. So putting her Pokemon S&M chat off again for another week, I guess. Coming soon. No games are coming out because they're all out. They're all out for the year. But La La Land, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah. I've heard
Yeah,
so
it
good.
looks. I think it looks really cool.
I mean, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me, but I would see it just based on the fact that his last movie, the drummer movie, what's it? Whiplash was fucking
Whiplash.
incredible.
Whiplash.
Whiplash was fucking incredible. So, and I've heard this movie has like last time I checked, it had like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Yeah, it's gotten really high scores.
it's probably good.
I'm not like that excited about it, but like so I maybe might not see it, but you know, just it sounds like everybody's excited for it / loving it. So
I'm
I'll
just not
probably
big
check
on
it out.
like movies like Across the Universe, and I just don't like these kind
Oh
of
yeah,
movies.
there's like some other movies like the last 2 or 3 years had like 3 different movies. One of them was with Mark Ruffalo, one of them was like autobiographical, one of them was like Anne Hathaway and some guy I think she married or something. And it's like just like musician person solving his problems with
Okay,
playing acoustic guitar.
Are you
or
talking
whatever.
about? Okay, there's a movie that I
I'm
just
talking about like
watched.
3 different movies, right? And
Well,
it's like
he-
I'm sure they're good, but like I just something doesn't.
There is one
Get to
movie
me.
that I think you might be talking about. It's this movie called Once, and then you had a new movie that just came out called
Yes.
Sing Street. I can
Yes.
vouch that Sing Street. You absolutely need to watch this movie because it's fucking awesome.
I've
And
heard,
it's-
yeah. See,
Everybody needs to watch Sing Street.
yeah, I've
it's
heard Sing
so
Street's really
good.
good.
And it's on
I just-
Netflix.
Yeah, okay. I'll probably check it out this weekend or something because like
Yeah.
that's one of those movies that like everybody says you got to see, and I'm like, I'm not feeling it, but I will.
I watched
you know,
it. I
'cause it's
kind
like-
of.
and once I do, I'll be turned. You know?
I started watching it like 1 a.m, thinking like, oh, I heard some good things about this, and then I ended up watching the whole thing. Like I was only gonna watch like 5 minutes just because I don't know, and I've actually seen it twice now, and it's so good. It's a musical, but not really. Like it's not really a musical. It's more just like it's about a band starting, and then they sing songs that are catchy and good.
Yeah, I think I need to check this out.
Yeah, his other movies are good too.
Right, yeah,
Okay, that's enough about that. Okay.
yeah, and that's all that's out this week. There's nothing. Unless either any of you guys got something I missed. That's kind of it.
can't think of anything.
Yeah,
There's got to be some other movie.
nothing worth talking about that I saw. Music, is there any new albums coming out? Let me check.
Childish
You're getting-
Gambino last week or so.
Yeah, it was last week that came out.
I bought that. I haven't listened to it yet because like it's either I listen to it in my room or I listen to it in my car, And if I listen to it in my car, then I have to it can't be on a commute because then it'll be broken up if it's not long enough. And it's I need. There's always the context when you first listen to an album. You actually sit down and listen to an album. So I have some 2 albums I have almost been able to separate over the course of time. But I have 2 albums that I listened to when I was playing different video games, a different one for each album or whatever, and just on the computer and stuff. And so those, for a long time, those albums had melded in my head with visuals from those games that I was playing. And so the first time you listen to an album really is lasting in a way. So I'm not sure when
I
I'm
agree
going to
with it.
listen
I
to
think
it,
more people should do the thing like Beyonce did with Lemonade. And their album should just be a full fucking feature-length music video.
Yeah.
So they control those visuals.
That was
That's
on the
tight.
HBO, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a new Neil Young album out, I guess.
Yeah, my dad was trying to get us to listen to it. It was just really jammy, just these 10-minute songs of maybe a couple lines of where he sings, and then it's just him playing guitar. I'm yeah, he sounds talented, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, that sounds like new fucking Neil Young.
I was gonna say just one thing here because I don't think it's ever gonna be relevant again until next year. Westworld actually ended up being really good. It kind of faltered in the middle. Westworld is good. You guys should watch the whole thing. Did you ever check that out, Gabe?
I've only watched the first episode. Still, I'm gonna make my way through. It's on the pile.
I suppose I should have talked about that tonight too. That was awesome.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say other than it ended up being good.
Grant, I guess there's an after credit scene. Did you see it?
No. I heard I heard season 2 isn't going to be until 2018 though.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 years. Yep. So, but you know what? I bet you that has everything to do with the fact that they've got a lot of big actors, and Jonathan Nolan makes it so they probably have sketch.
I think this show would benefit from changing. I mean, we don't want to spoil it for Gabe here if he does want to watch it, but I think season 2 could be wildly different than season 1. Just because the way that kind of ends, not saying all the characters die or anything like that, Gabe, but it ends on a very,
I know one of the big twists is it was a fan theory that got confirmed.
Yeah, I called a lot of the stuff going on as a theory. Andy, I was telling you about my theory about certain timeline type stuff. I was dead on, and it's probably
now. I just want to talk. I just want to talk about one thing though. So I just want to say it Anthony Hopkins at the end when the thing happens. I think he was making a clone of himself the whole time, don't you?
It wouldn't surprise me if everybody has a robot clone in the show. It's this show could become a Lost type thing where it's nothing is certain, everything is
yeah, who's real? Because if he can make people like that in secret without anybody knowing, then
it's pretty crazy.
That might not have been him in that last scene. So
my whole concept of the show going in was halfway through it, all the robots are going to start killing everybody. That doesn't happen until the very last episode, and it's pretty nuts. And that's a little bit spoilery to say, but that's something you should know that's possibly going to happen going in.
That is a great moment though when the 2 robots wake up and the techs start getting fucking slaughtered. That was great.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going too deep into spoilers here, but
yeah,
it's funny that you're saying that, and I'm thinking because I've only seen the pilot because I haven't set up the Apple TV yet, which I got to do. But I was just thinking about I watched the winter finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last night, which ends on the next half of the season. This half wrapped up the Ghost Rider shit. Ghost Rider disappeared or something, or went to hell or whatever. And the next half of the season is all about the LMD, because there's an LMD, a life model decoy character in the show, and
is it Patton Oswalt? Was Patton Oswalt in an LMD the whole time?
Nope. It's this character named Ada, and she looks like a real woman and bleeds like a real woman, except
yep, because she's an LMD. Yeah, I know what an LMD is.
Yeah, and so,
I'm not some fucking plebe, David.
Wikipedia defines life model decoy as. So Well, like recently in the show, like they've had like some stuff that it only hit me yesterday when I was watching the last week's episode. I was like, oh, this is Doctor Strange shit, because like the whole season, like, or at least starting around Halloween, there was like some ghost shit, and then there's like, oh, there's an evil book that like people read and it makes them go crazy, and like magical shit happens. And it only clicked yesterday that it was like, oh, this is Doctor Strange stuff, because what they do is they have this book that they need like to do some shit, and it's like, you can't read this book, it'll make you go fucking nuts or whatever. You can't comprehend it. And like they give it to Ada to read. Like everyone starts finding out that she's a life model decoy. So she reads the book, and it's like we see the like to other people the pages seem blank, but then we do this like camera move, and we see like her point of view shows that like there's all this, because normally when people look at the book there are all these symbols and shit that come from the blank pages, but for her it was like all these ones and zeros and shit, like completely uniform on the pages. And like she figures out how to create this portal that's basically Doctor Strange, but instead of like doing the hand shit and the magical stuff that Doctor Strange does, it's more like lasers pointing each way, and like only she can see the lasers, but then it'll open this portal and like save the people they got to save or whatever. And it's pretty tight. And then
it sounds like things actually happen on this show now as opposed to the first season. Maybe I should catch up.
Yeah, it seems like I think I've been doing it kind of since the first season, because the second half of the first season.
Yeah, the second half of the first
Hydra,
season was good.
because that was all about Hydra. So it seems like they're doing half season like chapters, because like the last one was
the tie-in to whatever the newest movie is in some.
Yeah, well, it was like this half of the season was called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider, and the next one is LMD, and there's like like motifs to it behind the logo and stuff that are different for these.
They're like comic books. That comic books do arcs. They're doing arcs.
Yeah, they're doing arcs. And so what happens with Ada is like, because she read this magic book of like presumably like one of the books from Doctor Strange, even though nobody knows about that stuff, but it's like an evil book or whatever. It corrupts the mind of whoever reads it or some shit. It like cuts to her like in her room, and she's like building this like laser brain model or something. So it's like, whoa, she's like hyper intelligent, and I mean she's already hyper intelligent, but like she's doing some shit that like she's not supposed to do. And the season ends, or like the half season ends with like setting up the next chapter is all about fighting her or something. And like she's kind of maybe made some life model decoys of people nice. On the team. So yeah, cloning robot clones.
Oh, they found out a way to do Secret War without having the rights to the scrolls. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. That also sounds cool. I need to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and fucking watch Westworld. Mm-hmm. Those are both on the list. They're both in the pile. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's podcast. See everybody next week, I guess.
Yeah.
I just stopped it with you saying, eh. And now I'm going to open